Okay, so today we're digging into something, well, something really different. It's this one news report that kicks off with a massive, speculative world war set in the future. And then, without any warning, bam, it just pivots completely to a real-time domestic crime story. It's a wild ride, and we're gonna unpack it.
So the big question here is, right, how does a single news broadcast even do that? How do you package a world war and a local drug bust together? And maybe more importantly, why? That's what we're going to explore. So yeah, let's get right into it.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll dive into the whole international conflict that they set up. Then, we're going to look at that really sudden pivot to what's happening back at home. And finally, we'll try to figure out what this kind of crazy structure is really all about.
Okay, so this report just throws you right into the deep end. No messing around. It kicks off with this huge international crisis already in motion, all centered on a massive retaliatory strike that, according to the broadcast, has the whole region just up in flames.
So what's the spark? Well, according to this broadcast, the whole thing gets kicked off by one single event: the reported death of Iran's Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. And Iran's missile strikes? They're framed as a direct retaliation for that. So this isn't some small border dispute, it's being painted as a massive, deeply personal act of national revenge.
And get this, they lay out a super specific timeline, but it's all set a couple of years in the future. It starts February 28th, 2026. By day 7, which is March 6th, they're reporting over 1,300 deaths in Tehran alone. It's this incredibly fast, brutal escalation, and that's totally key to the story that they're trying to tell.
All right, so after setting that stage, the report really zooms in on the first big move. It's this massive assault by the US and Israel, and they've even given it this super dramatic name, Operation EpicFury.
And here's the number that just pops right off the screen. Over 3,000. That's how many targets the US military supposedly hit inside Iran in just the first week. The scale is just immense. It's clearly meant to sound completely and totally overwhelming.
And they don't just stop at that one big number. The report gets super specific to paint this picture of absolute dominance. We're talking more than 3,000 precision munitions in the first 36 hours. Israel's contribution is broken down to the individual bomb and missile. They claim 43 Iranian warships are just gone. And it's all building toward one thing: a demand for Iran's unconditional surrender, period. And then you get this classic wartime situation, right? It's not just a physical war, it's an information war playing out at the same time. You've got the US and Israel saying we're hitting military sites, but they're hitting civilians. And then you have Iran saying the exact same thing, just flipped. We're hitting military targets, and they're the ones hitting our civilian infrastructure. It's a perfect mirror image of accusations.
Okay, so we've seen the US and Israeli side of the story. Now the broadcast flips the script and focuses on Iran's response. And yeah, you probably guessed it, their operation has a dramatic name too: Operation True Promise 4.
And here, the report really goes out of its way to show that Iran isn't just sitting back and taking it. It lists out this whole arsenal of advanced tech they're supposedly using. You've got these massive ballistic missiles, kamikaze drones, and the real headliners, the Fattah and Khaibar hypersonic missiles. The whole point is to show that Iran can hit back, and hit back hard.
And check this out: 15 times the speed of sound. That's how fast these hypersonic missiles are, according to the report. That number, 15x, isn't just thrown in there for fun. It's a really crucial detail because it leads directly to the next big claim. So what's the takeaway here? The report is basically saying that these super-fast missiles actually got through Israel's defenses. And not only that, but that they caused a lot of casualties that are supposedly being covered up by the Israeli government. So it's not just about cool tech. It's a narrative of contested information, a story that says the official version isn't the whole truth.
And then, just as you're completely absorbed in this huge, hypothetical world war, the whole thing just stops. The broadcast does a complete 180, it drops the international crisis like a hot potato, and suddenly, we're talking about local crime.
Yeah, suddenly the focus is on two totally unrelated drug busts right there in Indonesia. Over in Bali, they've nabbed 2 Russian nationals who are running a big mephedrone lab. And the report makes sure to mention their alleged backgrounds. One's a biochemist, the other an ex-intelligence officer, which is pretty intriguing. At the same time, in Rio, police stop 2 couriers on a highway and find 30,000 ecstasy pills.
And of course, the report makes it very clear these aren't just minor arrests. The Bali bust, they frame it as the country's largest ever seizure of that particular drug. And those pills from Rial, they slap a massive street value on it, 30 billion rupiah. So these are being presented as huge victories, big wins for domestic security.
So, you have to be wondering, right? What is going on here? Why present a fictional world war right next to two very real drug busts? What's the point of smashing these two completely different worlds together? Well, here's why it's so effective. By putting these stories side by side, the broadcast forces you to compare them. On one hand, you have this huge, scary, but potential military threat happening far away in the future. And on the other hand, you have the immediate, very real danger of drug trafficking happening right here, right now. It's a contrast between a far-off threat and one that's much, much closer to home.
And that's really the big takeaway, isn't it? This mashup of a possible future and the very real present leaves us with this final question to chew on. When you mix a speculative global conflict with actual, factual local crime in a single report, how does that shape our own perception of what's truly urgent? What does it tell us about what we're supposed to be worried about?